めて刺激決め球は直球解けない警戒早く気づいてよ気づいてよそっぽ向いてないで心揺らしてよ揺らしてよねえかっこつけてないでそう全身全霊一直線で愛して愛して欲しいな欲しいな愛を気持ち絡ませて恋に恋してだけじゃ痛いね痛いね愛を気持ちくっつけて愛してよ気づけば奇跡の逆転新たな発見悪なき探求いろいろ見せてよ見せてよそっぽ向いてない
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the 6-digit World Cup 2025. And after a long match, 7-5, United States have brought the Philippines to bracket reset. And before we dive into the bracket reset match that is to come, we have an interview with the two captains. Once again, the final interview with these two goats. How are you guys doing, man?
Very good, honestly. Obviously we won, but we still got one more match to go, so I'm getting kind of winded, but I gotta stay in there. So yeah, that's me.
What about you, Hushin?
Yeah. So far, we had like a rocky start, but yeah, we can ball out still.
And with the next match coming up, you know, Light, I know you said that you had to do a little bit of replanning. You know, how did the Philippines surprise you during this match? You know, I believe you guys had a thing planned out. Did that plan go to shit, or?
I don't know. It was weird. Obviously, the first 4 maps went our way, so thanks to a lot of carry performances on our side. But I can't really say what we're replanning, but we may or may not switch things around this time. We'll see. Obviously, Philippines surprised us a lot, especially on those gimmick maps, how strong they are all around. So yeah, we'll just have to do better this time.
And what about you, Hushin? Was your guys' plan to more so just dive into gimmick, try and let these players like Junior Igami, who perform so well on a lot of these gimmick maps, for example, Take and stuff, was that your guys' plan, or are you guys just trying to leeway into what you guys have more players to put in?
Honestly, we were thinking much on our picks, but we had like a rocky start. That's why like US got like a 4-point lead. We had like a mental reset. There's so many gay jokes going around in the VC, bro.
Oh well,
just like keep the mental up, man. Like we had like a rocky start, but yeah.
Interesting.
average Filipino moment. And you know, like, you guys won the bracket reset, or won the first match going into bracket reset. You know, is the team fully reset on the mental, or you guys like still have a little bit of nerves? You know.
Oh no, I think we're definitely locked in now. Obviously the first 4 maps gave us a big confidence boost, and we got over the second half attack from Philippines, and we won the first match. So we're feeling good right now. Yeah, one more match to go, and we're all fully awake now. So just stay in store for what's
everyone.
to come.
With everyone awake from the United States, Hushin, does that mean that all you guys are getting sleepy?
Not really. I think maybe.
Alright, well, with the interview coming to a close, I only have one more question, guys. How are you guys feeling going into bracket reset? You know, do you have anything you want to say to people in chat? You want to say something to each other as captains going into the final match of the 6-digit World Cup 2025?
Well, best of luck, Hushin. I think the game will speak for itself, and may the best one win.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck to Team A, and for the viewers watching. This is gonna be a hell of a match, man. We're already in bracket reset.
Alright, and with that, thank you everyone for watching the interview, and we will be moving on with the final match that is to come, and I will now be passing the microphone on to Gammy Crayola. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Time for me to make my leave, and time for the captains to join back their VCs, and we will see you guys shortly for what is to come.
"62 matches. Ladies and gentlemen, we're finally at the end. The USA has performed the heroics of a lifetime and have drawn blood against what seemed like the unstoppable force that was the Philippines. The Philippines, often regarded as the 2025 equivalent of Brazil 2024, have been shot down to the level of the US, and now both of them are on their last lives. It's for all the marbles here. Welcome to the 6-digit World Cup. Welcome to the bracket reset, the final match of this year's iteration. My name is Gami Criolla. I'm your host, and joining me in the VC, bringing you the commentary from the ground, Will M. How you doing, man?
Oh my goodness. I mean, what did we just witness there a couple of minutes ago? Just absolutely insane to see United States put up a performance like that. You know, I think I've mentioned it multiple times. I have been doubting United States the entire time just because I didn't think they would be Indonesia, given that skill cap maybe, and I didn't expect them to be able to perform to such a high level against a team like the Philippines. But they, once again, time and time again, have proven me wrong. And now, on level ground, both of them arrive to this final bracket reset match.
Mr. Throne, god damn it, you were right, man. You were right. When we, all the way back in the prediction stream, we thought Philippines were untouchable. And Mr. Throne was the one who's to say, you really think that? The United States got this. And by God, they are one step closer. They're closer than any other country to toppling the titans of this year's World Cup. And I like to bring in the history. I think looking at the history books, This is not the first time we've seen this kind of game state. Last year, my country, Singapore, we took Brazil down 7-5 in the first match of the grand finals, bringing them to bracket reset. But when it mattered the most, we lost. We lost 7-5, and Brazil took that victory home. The question today is, will United States be the ones to erase history, to cement their legacy as 6-digit World Cup champions, to be the first country in 6-digit World Cup history to do it for a second time? Or will Philippines reign supreme? Will they prove inevitable and be the first ever Asian country since the World Cup's first inception to take gold home for Asia? That is the question that we'll be asking here today. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the two rosters that we have here today. Sparkle, Misdraw, Delete, Redacted, Creep Crafting 56, Callan Jack, Cuckoo, and IDK Kiwi. Walking in for the United States, and Yura, Idex Mindriki, Jun Yorigami, Chemos Mako, Raijin Yuna, and Zabi coming in for the Philippines, being led by their captain Hushin. As the players slowly but surely walk into the arena, this is the final battle. And oh boy, am I excited to see what they have to show. Woam, tell us a bit about, the storyline. Tell us a bit about what happened in the last matchup. Tell us a bit about what we're expecting to see going into this kind of matchup.
Well, United States, coming from that Indonesia victory last week, took 4 points in the first ban phase of Philippines, taking 2 break points on picks that were, almost certainly favored towards the Philippines. But then Philippines clawed right back, taking 3 points of their own. But United States just absolutely unstoppable. Taking this match maybe closer than it should have been, maybe trolling some picks, but honestly, they were able to clutch it out in the end with that 7-5 victory, as you mentioned. And we're going to be going straight into this matchup. Now, we'll take a big talk about the protects and bans here. Philippines going with their hidden 2 protect, as with last time, but United States actually going with the DT1 protect. Any thoughts on this one, Gami?
I love this. I absolutely love this. The United States going for this protective DT1s, they are absolutely laden with confidence. They are gilded with confidence going into this DT1, and for that reason, I think that's what the United States need from their protect. The DT4 looked a lot more precarious than it should have been, and for that reason, the DT1 was a complete stomp from the United States last round. So this DT1 makes a lot of sense from a pure confidence standpoint. Hidden 2, yeah, no brainer for the Philippines. Don't fix what ain't broke, and Hidden 2 is definitely their strong suit. But instead, now we see it, Willem. The Philippines instantly attack with that No Mod 6. They just, okay, for the record, they did sort of, just narrowly won out on this No Mod 6 against the United States during their last matchup. But for what it's worth, an advantage is an advantage, and I think going into this matchup, the Philippines are more poised towards targeting, the gimmick slots as early as possible. I'm looking at your No Mod 6, and perhaps later on we'll see a free Mod 2. But tell us a bit about this map, sort of give us a refresher.
I mean, yeah, right. This No Mod 6 was very narrowly won in the previous match, but that was really only because Sparkle and Creep Crafting were able to hold for such a long time, right? And I think, given the Hidden 2 performance of the last match as well, where Sparkle dropped his score massively, I think Philippines might be trying to play into that. Sparkle is maybe not the most consistent on this sort of map, and without Sparkle to cement that very solid score, Philippines may be able to take this one. But this map is all about the acceleration and deceleration, these tricky rhythm patterns that you really don't see tested in other tournament maps. Everyone's used to seeing IRL, Ebb Tide, Toromaru stuff, but this map is just all about those tricky BPM changes and managing to hold through the very end as that accel pattern catches a lot of people off guard.
Yep, the first landmines of this map explode as Kalenjai, Crafting, Zavi, and Idex alongside the lead are all caught off guard. Junior Origami and Camo Smuckle gonna be the two FCs in favor of Philippines, but a lot to be desired on the early onset of this map. And with that, Sparkle, you know, the only one left to fend for the US. We saw last time where Sparkle absolutely popped off on this No Mod 6, being the determining factor in making the matchup as close as it was. And with that miss from Camo Smuckle, now it's just Junior Origami left to fend for the Philippines. Last time we saw Idex Mandrike with the support, and Idex and Zavi are looking to push deeper and deeper as we move into the speed up section. Everybody holds as we move into the KI. This is where the overlaps start to claim these players. We're moving deep into the bar sliders, deep into the overlap patterns, and the aim is deceptively tricky. Camus Mako and Kalenjak trade an eye for an eye, and as it stands right now, a slight score lead in favor of the United States that can just shift at any moment, and that moment is now as Creep Crafting finds the miss as we move into the slowdown.
It is once again Junior Origami and Sparkle, the two most impressive scores on this map. Last match, both still holding that FC, but Philippines has that supporting combo advantage, and with that break from Delete, it is traded out by Zavi, but Idex is still holding that massive combo, and that is going to let Philippines take this right back, but June finds the break on that tricky section.
We go to the speed up, and here's where the ship misses come in. The bus sliders are incredibly easy to slip up on, and Idex Vendrike, what we thought was a player gapped on Gimmick, is gonna be the last bastion of hope for the Philippines as Sparkle pushes in as he always does for the US. It is neck and neck, but Sparkle is gonna be the one to find the miss at the beginning of that startup, but the Philippines isn't quite out of the clear just yet. Kalenjak knocking on their door, but Kalenjak goes down, and Idex Vendrike is gonna be the last one to hold. What a demoniacal performance from what seemed to be a player who hated Gimmick in the past. And we have a start to the match.
Oh my goodness gracious, that was a lot closer than I think Philippines might have liked. Sparkle setting another impressive score, but June just unable to replicate his performance from last match. It was really just because of that insane FC, well almost FC from Idex, that was able to give Philippines the win here, but that is 1-0 on the board for them, and United States is going to respond right back.
That's right. And for what it's worth, when you mentioned that was a close pick, but at this point, it doesn't matter. These players need to throw everything they have at the wall, and it doesn't matter. There is no room for hiding any sort of skill sets. There's no room for underperformance here. These players, it doesn't matter how close it is. The point is what matters at the end of the day. So we're gonna pivot back into the United States pick, and I think a Hard Rock here. We saw in the early phase of the previous matchup that United States really enjoyed playing into the Hard Rocks. Now they have Hard Rock 2 open to them, and they also have Hard Rock 1, which they won pretty damn decisively. So I think the no-brainer pick here is just go in for the Hard Rock 1. They had such a dominant performance on it last round that, you know, this just seems natural.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you mentioned the Hard Rock 2 still open, but I think that is one of those picks is a lot more RNG. So they're just going to be going with the Hard Rock 1, which they performed incredibly well on last time. Remember, they won by over 600k, an absolute domination over Philippines. So it's kind of a no-brainer to see them go with this Hard Rock 1 pick right off the back. For a recap, this map is going to test your light tech consistency on the Hard Rock, but there are plenty of flowy patterns that can easily trip you up.
That's right. And here we go into the action. I definitely think that the Philippines here have something to prove for themselves. We mentioned it before, but towards the earlier stages of the match, the Philippines really struggled to find their footing throughout the first 4 points, and that's why we saw the United States take such a dominant lead home in the earlier stages of the first match. But now the Philippines, once again, they have the momentum back into their hands, and for that reason, I think we're definitely going to see a improvement, or at least, a matching of scores coming in from the Philippines, which, might give the US a run for their money. For what it's worth, towards the later half of the map, towards the later sections of the map, we did start to see Kalenjak and Delete falter just that little bit. But I mean, who's really doubting them? Who's really doubting them on a Hard Rock 1 like this? They've done it once, and I think there's no doubt in my mind that they are capable of doing it again.
I mean, the thing is, the score lead was just so dominant from the United States. All four players getting above that 450k mark. Meanwhile, you have players on the Philippines down at that 300k, which, 600k is a lot to claw back. You really need to hope for some, improvements from. I'm looking at maybe Xavi to improve his score a little bit, and maybe Idex to improve his score a little bit. Those two carries, I think, may have found the recovery into the second half of that last match. So I'm looking for them to perform on this Hard Rock 1.
That's right. And yeah, we're gonna slowly but surely see the Good Luck Have Funs fill the lobby, and we're gonna jump straight into it. The second map of this match, pardon me. And the United States are probably looking to, even out the scoreline, set the record straight that they are here to play. They are not going to just give the Philippines that point willy-nilly. Creep Crafting, Delete, Kalenjak, Sparkle. You're just seeing the repeat of the previous matchup. No real reason for them to diversify at all as you get into the consoles remix of Beggars.
Absolutely, this Hard Rock 1, all about that consistency. You really need to be able to hold those large combos throughout this flow and touching. A bunch of bricks come out there on that opening flow, and that burst is very, very devilish, but there's still plenty of map to go. It's really just about who can hold those big combos, and everyone else look to be super strong, but this is not the meat of the map yet. We're really going to wait for that first KI to see who's truly comfortable on a map like this.
That's right, Yura does find a miss as the map slowly but surely begins to heat up. Xavi, Camo, Sparkle, and Idex versus Delete, Sparkle, and Kalenjak. We're moving full thrust into the first KI. And once again, early days, nobody gonna look for that break. Philippines does pull ahead with a slight accuracy lead to their name. But Camo, Sparkle, and Creep Crafting are gonna be the ones to fall. Camo, Sparkle's combo was worth a lot more than Creep Crafting's, and with that, United States will be slowly but surely pulling that score lead more and more towards the left side.
All players hitting that flow stream there, and it is once again the duos on both sides, Delete and Kalenjak versus Idex and Xavi to hold. But the supporting combo on Sparkle is just so much better, and I think United States are going to take that score lead back. But Sparkle finds that break, and now with the recovery combo on Urua, score lead is just going to remain in Philippines' favor for the time being.
Oh, the situation is looking dire, but Idex Mindrike finds that unlucky shit miss, and with that, Kalenjak and Delete now are looking in a much better position to take this score all the way. They are not out of the clear, however. Yura and Camo Sparkle looming ahead with that supporting combo, not quite letting that scoreline shift over to the left side just yet. They want to see another break going to this next KI, and we're going to jump straight into it. The flowing section comes up, catches no one off guard, and that scoreline is going to flicker as we move into this next KI.
And USA are going to take that score lead right back just off the full combos off Delete and Kalenjak. It is just Xavi once again to contest. Sparkle may find the break, but Creep Crafting has found that very, very nice recovery. And with a double break from Philippines, I don't know if there is much the Philippines can do now. They just have to hope for one of these FCs on the side of United States to break, but it's just not coming out at all. They just look so confident on this Hard Rock 1, and they're just building that score lead up and up.
Yeah, that's right. They can hope, they can pray, but against the duo of Delete and Kalenjak, what can you even do? The scoreline opens. Xavi knows he's the only one left to fend for himself, but by God, going up against this duo on Hard Rock 1, I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. This seems like a score lead so in favor of the US right now. Unless Delete and Kalenjak drop right now, there is no chance for any sort of comeback.
And it's still Delete and Kalenjak to hold those combos into the very last section of the map. The final stream catching no one off guard. And it's still Delete and Kalenjak to hold those FCs. Xavi's may do all he can, but it's just not enough. We're just going to have to see an absolute collapse from both of these FCs if we want it to go anywhere. And as we close this Hard Rock 1 and get into this final section, it's not going to be enough. United States are going to take this point solidly in their favor to take this to 1-1.
The blades of the US prove to be sharp once again as Delete and Kalenjak pull ahead with a 900 and 850k score. respectively, a 262k score lead. They've done it once and they did it again. A dominant victory for the US to kickstart their first pick on Hard Rock 1. And with that, we're tied up 1-1, already looking like a much tighter match than we saw last time.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Philippines did improve their score massively compared to their previous team score on the previous match, but it just was not enough against that duo. And now we're getting into Philippines' next pick. They're going to be instantly picking that free mod 2. This was the map that kickstarted their recovery out of the 4-0 lead last time. So it's not too surprising for them to pick this one super early.
That's right. I mean, Pokepow's map in these nuts. Oh my goodness, I was recently corrected. But it's a custom song by Domi. This is the Philippines, you know, this is their trump card through and through. It's what gave them the ability to regain their momentum in the previous match, and they're looking to shoot off with it right now before it can get taken out of their hands. This is a custom song by Domi, who is the 6-digit Asia Pacific Cup Filipino captain. So in some essence, you know, they're sort of playing in their home ground. Well, tell us a little bit about what we saw from this remote 2 last time.
I mean, the thing is about this free mod 2 last time is that the scores were pretty evenly matched on both sides, apart from the carry performance from Xavi on that hidden Hard Rock FC. And that was the sole reason they were able to take that point. So it's a lot of pressure on Xavi to replicate that performance, given, you know, I think USA sort of had an underperformance there. They got a much better 2 million score on their match against Indonesia. But, you know, this map is absolutely brutal. Features a lot of reading patterns that can trip you up on any mod, honestly. And just the rhythms, everything is super funky about this map. So you really need to maintain your focus.
Yep, it's a huge debate in the free mod, six-digit free mod pooling world, where it's honestly typically very difficult to balance between hidden and hard rock, but this map balances it a bit too well. On the reading, you're faced with incredibly tricky, you know, start-stop sliders. You're forced to follow sliders that really restrict your cursor movement, and on hard rock, that restriction on the cursor movement is just placed to the extreme with that CS 6.5 aspect. On, you know, not 6.5, a bit less than 6.5, a bit of concession given to the players, but for what it's worth, it doesn't make it much easier. This map, these nuts are it's so incredibly difficult, and as the players are loading into the lobby, it looks like we're gonna see a repeat for the most part of what we saw last round on this free mod 2. Let's jump straight into it, Will.
Absolutely, yeah. Both teams running with their CM mod lineup. Xavi on that hidden hard rock, I think, is a player to watch out for. He FC'd this last time, and I think he's just hoping that he can replicate that performance to secure Philippines this win here. An early break comes out from camera, but there's still plenty of map. I just traded right back from Sparkle, and you see these reading patterns catching a couple players out, creep crafting on the side of the United States to find the break as well. That is 2 FCs on the side of the United States to 3 on the side of Philippines, giving them that early score advantage.
Yeah, this map does not give you any room to breathe as we jumpstart the map with a measly 34k score lead in favor of the Philippines right now. They're currently holding a 3-way FC compared to United States 2. And with that, they are looking to slowly but surely drag this scoreline more and more as they move into the slow section with 3 combos still intact. But last time, we saw unlucky shit miss during the slow section. These players need to be kept on their toes lest they find an unlucky miss.
Absolutely, yeah. Everyone seems to have found that recovery there. Everyone up there, either at 250 combo or on the FC. And this section just requires absolute focus, but catching none of these players at all. All combos still intact as we move into the final section of the map, the most difficult. The reading patterns, again, just much of what we've seen before, and it's just going to be about who can hold, who can prevent the nerves from getting them, who can compose themselves, as we get into it right now.
The flowing section comes in, it catches Sparkle off guard, but these players have played these games before. They know what it's about, and nobody's gonna miss on the onset of the first KI, but it's gonna be full thrust. Raiden Yuna gonna be the first one to find a miss. So does Xavi, and Junior Origami is the only one left to fend for the Philippines. Creep crafting does fall, and now it's Cannon Jack versus Junior Origami, the matchup of all time. Mechanics versus Hidden. The both no more anchors racing towards the finish line right now, trying to do it for their teams. The scoreline is flickering but Delete is going to be the deciding factor as we move into the end of this Fremont 2. The Hard Rock carry proves himself once again, and it's a reversal of what we saw last match. The United States are here to play.
Oh my goodness gracious. United States improving their team score by over 700k. Talk about a comeback here. Delete and Kalanjak improving their scores so much, holding those FCs till the very end. And Xavi just unfortunately unable to replicate the performance from last match, giving United States that break point. And that is going to be 2-1 to United States, and United States can now respond with their own pick.
That was a monumental increase in score, might I just add. I mean, this is the highest score that we've seen the United States throw out on this Fremont 2, and it is clear to see why they didn't want to go for the ban. They knew that they had this sort of potential to really pop off on the Fremont 2, and pop off they did. But moving into the next pick, and this is going to be the last pick of the first ban phase. And now, you know, the United States have secured an early lead against the Philippines once again. But we've seen this situation before. The United States really thrive off that momentum. So the question is, will they be able to carry over this momentum past the first ban stage with this Hard Rock 2 pick?
Absolutely, yeah. This Hard Rock 2 got banned out in the previous match, so we did not get to see it, and hence both these teams are sort of blind. Well, we do have a team score from the United States on their match against Indonesia getting 2.5 million, a very impressive score. But you know, this map is so short, so volatile. Anything can really happen on this match, on this map, sorry. But I think, you know, United States have been known to dominate on these sort of Hard Rock 2 picks. Despite them being so short, so volatile, I think they just have a much better roster. All their players on the roster can play this Hard Rock 2 so well. So I think against a team like Philippines, they are definitely the favorites, and, you know, it's just gonna be that.
Yeah, and I think you know, it's very important to mention that Kalanjak and Delete have been on an absolute tear in this map, and a lot of the United States game plan going into all of their matches during this grand finals has been to really play around Kalanjak and Delete's strengths. And if you look at their previous matchup, I mean, you see Kalanjak getting a 948k, you see Delete getting a 730k with Kiwi with that solid 500k backing. This is a map where they can truly exploit the carries coming in from the States, and not just the carries when it comes to the skill cap, but more importantly, the carries when it comes to the consistency. That's what the United States have been showing prowess over the Philippines on time and time again during this matchup. And this Hard Rock 2, as volatile as you mentioned, Will, given the duration, you might think that it's, you know, a really miss or die map. But at the same time, this is the no mod one of this is the no mod one of Hard Rock 2s, because this is a really cookie cutter bread and butter Hard Rock 2. Really, at the end of the day, just testing your comfort on the CS 6.5. And comfort, I think the United States has an abundance of.
Absolutely, yeah. You mentioned how accessible this map really is, right? It is just a bog standard aim map on that CS 6.5. Now, the CS 6.5 does make the spacing quite tricky, but, you know, for these tournament players, the CS 6.5 is just going to be no problem to them, and it is really just a test of that consistency, I think, as you mentioned. But yeah, we're going to be getting into this Hard Rock 2 now. IDK Kiwi and Redacted to fill for the United States here, both of them playing in that previous Hard Rock 2 against Indonesia. Meanwhile, we're seeing Xavi, Irex, Kemo, that core roster combined with Aurora on this Hard Rock 2, and let's just jump right into it.
Yep, as you can see, there's really nothing crazy to shout out at these players in this map. Really, it's just your comfort when it comes to the CS 6.5. We see misses fill the screen as the players slowly get accustomed to the high AR, to the high CS. Rejected IDK Kiwi Kalanjak finding those early misses alongside Xavi and Yura. Now 2 FCs to 1. And, you know, given the short duration of the map, we're already a quarter of the way through. That scoreline is slowly but surely going to grow in favor of the Philippines.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the players do not have much time to get used to this. This map is just so short. You need to be good right off the bat as we get into this first KI here, and Redacted finds another break. Meanwhile, Philippines, apart from Kemo, have all found very, very solid recoveries right here, and that score rate is just going to keep increasing towards their side. Kalanjak, Delete, Kiwi may hold those combos, but it's just not going to be enough.
That's right, we move into the KI and it's 3 large combos against 3 large combos, but the scoreline is just gonna stagnate and the stagnation is just gonna favor the Philippines as we move into the last quarter. It is still anyone's game, however, Redacted might be struggling, Camo might be struggling, but those combos are, you know, to be ignored when it comes to the combos that we are dealing with. And Xavi and Inex give the United States the opportunity they need. IDK Kiwi might miss, but Delete and Kalenjak hold. Kalenjak finds the miss and now it's Delete versus Yura, but Delete has the accuracy advantage over Yura, but the scoreline is gonna be very close as we move to this ending. Yura finds the miss and Delete races towards the finish line without looking back.
That break from Yura giving Delete all the freedom he needs to take this score lead up and beyond that 200k mark. It was looking so dire for both teams. You know, the score lead, neither team wanting to give an inch at all, but Delete just managing to claw that FC for his team and give United States that point, giving them the 3-1 lead going into the second ban phase.
Oh boy, that's right. That's what the US need. We've seen this before. The previous match, albeit it was a 4-0 lead in favor of the United States. This time it's a 3-1 lead. Not quite as divisive, but for what it's worth, the Philippines already burned out a lot of the picks that they used in the later stages of this match. You know, they used a lot of the picks that we saw them throw out early on. And with that, you know, the Philippines going to the second ban phase are going to, I think, struggle a bit trying to pick around the strengths of the United States. And yeah, we're going to get into the bans very soon. Willem, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it looks like Philippines going to ban out that DT4. Honestly, pretty expected given how the DT4 went last time, right? But it still is a pretty toss-up ban. You could say, Philippines could ban something like the Free Mod 1 or the Free Mod 3, both very consistency-based maps. And United States is going to be banning that No Mod 3 as they did last time, just not wanting those carries to perform, just wanting to keep Xavi, keep Irex out of this. And we're going to be moving back into the pick here, Philippines, to respond.
Right, the Philippines instantly go for a hidden true. Oh my goodness, are they shooting off with their protect right now? We really burning through our protect at this juncture of the map. Okay, honestly, ballsy pick from the Philippines. I've been waiting for something to happen. Willem, tell us about this map.
This map, absolutely brutal on the reading. Honestly, in my opinion, the hardest map of this pool. The stacks, the tapping, the ARA is just so brutal, even for a like 4.99 SR map. But this map, I think Philippines performed extremely well on it last time. I think it was just because Light, or Sparkle rather, underperformed a little bit, dropping his score by about 400k or so, and Raijin and Kemo and June all holding very solid scores against the Delete, Kalenjak, Sparkle trio. You know, Delete and Kalenjak kind of have to fill for this map, so I think Philippines just has a very clear advantage on this one. They won that pick by 900k last time, and I think we're going to see something similar in this match.
But yeah, well, at the same time, you know, this is the kind of map that can really be dictated by on-map pop-offs, you know, because we've seen time and time again where the US were capable of playing this map. Crafting and Sparkle having both 658k scores to their name in their matchup against Indonesia. They weren't able to replicate it just this time, but you know, who knows? You know, I definitely think that given that this pick is going to come out earlier, Sparkle and Crafting have a lot more composure going into this map this time round. Meanwhile, on the other side, you know, the pressure is now on Philippines to emulate the scores that they've thrown out in the beginning. You're seeing Raijin, Yuna, Camus, Mako, and Jun Yorigami all holding above a 470k combo in their previous matchup during this grand finals. And so for that reason, I don't want to discount the US right out just as we get into the beginning of this match.
Absolutely right. This map is so brutal, even for those gimmick players, right? And it's going to be hard for players like Raijin and for players like June to replicate the scores they got in the previous match. But I'm just worried because Kalenjak, Delete are both filling for this map. So it's going to be hard for them to get any sort of scores here. Philippines going to take the very early score advantage. Raijin and Xavi to still hold. Xavi finds that break, and it is now Raijin versus Creepcrafting.
right? Very, very well mentioned, but the scoreline is going to favor the Philippines as we move into the
Oh.
floor. A barrage of misses are littered throughout the screen. Junior Origami, Kemusmaku for the Philippines, Delete, Kalenjak, and Sparkle for the US, and Creep Crafting and Raijin Yuna once again the only ones left to hold. But Raijin finds the miss, and now Creep Crafting, when the dust settles, is the only one to hold. Can she make the difference? I mean, we're moving into the perfect overlap sections of the map, and she is gonna single-handedly look to bring the score back slowly but surely. Junior Origami not informed to take this point back as he was last time, and that scoreline has shifted in favor of the left side of the scoreboard. Creep Crafting 400 combo and counting. Last quarter of the map, the sparkling dead news shines bright as she continues to race towards the final KI, unrelenting in her resolve.
And she is still holding this FC going to the final section of the map. She has done more
right?
than enough. No way she FCs
No
this.
way! No!
She may find that break, but she has done more than enough to take this break point for the United States on the Philippines protect, mind you. And once again, I have been proven wrong once again. I thought this was going to be such a decisive win for Philippines, but Philippines just unable to replicate the scores that they set in their previous match. And that is just going to be a point to the United States on Philippines hidden to protect.
Yo, what are they doing? I mean, bro, I think both you and I were caught off guard because when we saw what Creep was doing on the bottom left, we didn't expect her to take it all the way, but slowly but surely, forgive my wordplay, but she creeped up and just absolutely decimated that score lead for the United States, and not just her, but the rest of her team as well were just constantly able to beat out any sort of attack that Philippines could have amassed. And now, the United States are back at where they were, 4-1 against the Philippines. I mean, with a completely different matchup from what we saw last time. Last time, we saw the Philippines saving their gimmicks for the later stages of the map. This time, the Philippines shoots ahead with those gimmick maps that they were able to regain their momentum with. And the United States denies any sort of attack from the Philippines. They stomp it out. And now, the United States had the confidence from the last matchup to go the extra mile. The momentum, once again, Boam, I remind you, the momentum is so scary.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw what happened to Indonesia when the United States got that momentum. They just absolutely slaughtered them. And even though Philippines was able to take this score lead, the score back in that previous match, you know, in times like this, where both teams are performing to a caliber that is just unseen before in the 6-digit World Cup, this is very hard to say anything right now. And the United States are going to be picking that Fremont 3, sorry.
Well, this Fremont 3 pick, I think you and I both we both sort of get why this is a AFA pick, right? We saw this as one of the Philippines' last pick, I believe their second last pick in their previous match during this grand finals, and they got absolutely decimated on this Fremont 3, which really puzzles me as to why they're going for this kind of pick. And if I had to reason with it, if I was in the position of Yushin, the Philippines are trying to do something different once again. We saw it, you know, after the second ban phase, where, you know, the United States had such a dominant lead over the Philippines, where what worked for the Philippines was doing something out of the box. The United States doesn't expect the Philippines to go for a map that they were crushed on, but here we are, the Philippines going for a Fremont 3.
I do believe it is actually the United States going for the Fremont 3 pick right here.
Oh wait, this is the Fremont 3? No, okay, I'm wrong then.
Yeah, this is the United States going with this, and you know, this pick is pretty expected given how crazy their team score was on this map last time. They put up a 3.3 million team score, which for a grand finals map is absolutely absurd. And they're playing into that consistency again, right? United States are known for being well-rounded, known for keeping their composure on consistency maps like this, and I think they just want to do it again, right? Philippines just kept finding breaks in the middle, and it was only Xavi to hold through with the FC on the Fremont 3 last time. So I think the United States just want to exploit that again going into this match.
Yeah, no, I guess everything I said while I was busy schizoing and saying that the Philippines picked this Fremont 3 still remains true for the United States. They absolutely decimated Philippines in the last round, and don't fix what ain't broke. They're gonna jump straight into Faraway Light Fremont 3. This map absolutely littered with those 260 BPM bursts alongside a lot of really, really fast, really, really unpredictable aim and on the mods as well. That's really gonna put your consistency to the test. Yushin gonna be the first one to miss. Traded up by Sparkle, and the scoreboard opens. We are still dead even on the score.
That score is dead even. There is still plenty more to this map. It is really who finds the bricks in the middle, right? We saw in the previous map that no one was really finding any misses at all. Everyone was just looking so stable, but we just have to wait until the later sections of the map to see who can compose themselves, who doesn't succumb to the nerves on a consistency map like this. And everyone just looks so dead even like last time right now. Sparkle and Hushin both finding their recoveries as we get into this next KI.
That's right, everybody racing. It is still dead even between all of these players. 3 FCs to 3. Zavi, however, is going to be the first one to find the miss. Delete, Challenger, and Creek Crafting now have the opportunity. Hushin as well, finding the miss. And now the weaknesses of Philippines, they're being exploited. The armor is cracking as the scoreboard opens once again.
Sparkle may find that break, but it is still 3 full combos on the side of the United States to 2 on the side of Philippines. And this is just exactly what we saw last time. United States just abusing the consistency as we get into this next half of the map. We're gonna really need to see a collapse of at least one of these FCs on the side of United States if Philippines wants to bring this back at all. These 220 birds not catching anyone off guard as we move into the final quarter of the map.
Alright, the scoreboard opens. For what it's worth, it's not over for the Philippines just yet. Delete, Challenger, and Creep Crafting could all just crumble here, and Inex and Camo are just knocking on the doors of them. But I don't think the US is gonna give up that easily. Last 8th of the map, there is absolutely no support for the Philippines. Sparkle, however, on the other hand, 400 combo and counting. As we move to the tail end of this round 3 Wilhelm, I already think it's curtains for this map.
Absolutely. Kalenjak, Delete, Creep Crafting, all still holding that FC into this last section of the map. And despite Irex and Chemo's best efforts, it's just not enough. They just did not have that supporting score from their teammates. And the United States, once again, are going to take that point in a very, very solid, almost 500k score lead to bring this up to an incredibly scary 5-1.
Bro, the US are not playing any games whatsoever. They have the momentum. They're gonna ride that train all the way. And now the Philippines don't have the safety net of what saved them, what saved their skin in the last matchup here. They lost all of their gimmick picks. They only have what? DT4 left, but they banned out DT4. They don't have anything left. What do you even go for if you're the Philippines in this scenario? You lost on the Hidden 3 last time. The DTs are just toss-ups. The Nomad 1 is a toss-up. The Nomad 2, Nomad 4 maybe, but it's just completely uncharted territory. Do you really want to take that risk now? But maybe you must take that risk. I don't know, Willem.
It's incredibly hard to say. I honestly think Philippines may just want to go into what they're known for, the tapping, right? The Nomad 5 and DT2 are still untouched, and Philippines were able to win that DT2 last time, right? Very comfortably, actually, by 500k. So maybe they will go into the tapping again, hoping that Kalenjak or Delete finds that unlucky brick.
That's right, but you know, we can only hope, you can only pray as the Philippines really take their time to think about this pick. And I mean, we've seen Philippines backed into the corner during their last matchup, and they were somehow able to make the difference. And I don't have a doubt in my mind that, you know, if there was a country to do it, the Philippines would be that country. Hushin immediately goes, I think, for the Nomad 5 as I say that. And we are gonna see everything will freeze being picked once again. I believe this was the first pick of Team Philippines during their last matchup. They're gonna revisit it. They're gonna try give it another shot.
And really the hope here for Philippines is that Delete and Kalenjak find the underperformance, right? They did get much lower scores in their match against Indonesia. And, you know, with players like Xavi and Irex, maybe with their supporting scores from Cameron Hushin, you know, maybe they can just barely claw back the score lead. It's only 200k to make up, and with any break coming out from Delete or Kalanjak could be absolutely fatal for the United States. But, you know, it is Philippines' pick, right? They are the ones challenging the United States on this map.
Yeah, and they're challenging the United States, mind you, on a map that they lost, on a map where I believe Kalanjak and Delete both double FC. So it takes some balls to sort of pick this into the United States. But they, you know, I like to say fortune favors the wicked, fortune favors the bold, and the Philippines, well, cross your fingers, cross your toes. Hopefully they'll be able to make the difference, because the United States still have that DT1 in the chamber. They can fire that at any time, and they do not have any rush to use it whatsoever. So without further ado, good luck, have fun. Hopefully coming in chat. Hopefully we'll be able to see everything will freeze very soon. Roster switches rise. I don't really expect to see any switches. I think both rosters on either side are relatively stable. Probably going to see Mistral subbing in for the United States on this map. Meanwhile, Idex, Xavi, Camo, Smako, and I believe Fusion seem to be, you know, the comfortable roster for the Philippines when it comes to the tapping.
Ooh.
And no, in fact, we see Yura subbing in for Fusion. They are actually making a roster swap. Alongside, I believe, Sparkle subbing in for Mistral on this No 5. Double roster swaps from both countries. Perhaps this makes it a little bit more interesting.
Well, you know, these roster swaps are for the supporting scores, right? And I think both these teams really need to hope that their supporting scores can outdo the other ones, because, you know, when the carries are both performing so well, it is about whether you have the roster, the 4-man roster, to field for this map. Getting into it, Sparkle seems to be struggling actually quite a bit, but Idex trades it right back. That's a carry from the Philippines, really not what you want to see. And Cuckoo trades it right back, actually.
Yeah, it looks like Sparkle's miss was a Bancho miss, but for what it's worth, it is still 3-3. We're slowly but surely ramping up in the intensity. And, you know, one thing to know about this map is that the KIs are, frankly speaking, less tapping intensive, but they're more so a test of your nerve control, your ability to adapt to the high BPM. Sparkle gonna be the next one to find the miss. And hold on, Philippines might have some sort of attack. Yura, Camo, Smako, and Xavi are looking to push against the US. Kalanjak and Delete, however, still as strong as ever, still as unshakable as ever as they move out of the first KI, still holding on to the combos. But Philippines, they want to play this game.
Idex and Camo both finding very solid recoveries. Cuckoo as well on the side of America, but as it stands, Philippines have that combo advantage just because the supporting combos are higher. And Sparkle actually, again, finding the break, unable to find any sort of footing on this. Meanwhile, Philippines Hero might find the break, but the combos seem a lot more stable on the side of Philippines.
Yup, and that miss from Sparkle is gonna make things a lot closer. I mean, it looked like United States had the recovery, but as we slowly but surely ramp up into the next KI, here's where things get interesting. The map is coming to its second half, and Yura finds a miss. Here's where the nerves start to kick in, and these players cannot falter. They cannot lose focus on a map as intense as this. Kalanjak and Delete. Kalanjak goes down now, and Delete is the only FC left for the United States. Meanwhile, Xavi and Camo Smako now are on the pursuit. They won Retribution on Everything Will Freeze, and they are looking to take it all the way. The question is, will the US let that happen?
Kalanjak find the unfortunate miss, unable to replicate his FC from the previous match, and it is just Delete holding the FC with Cuckoo to back that up. But that's just being completely cancelled out by Xavi and Camo, and not to mention the solid recovery combo from Idex there, just building that score lead up to almost 200k now. We're really going to need to see something from the Philippines if the United States wants to take this back, and all of a sudden, it just looks to be in Philippines' favor, but Camo finds the break.
Yeah, as we get into the final KI, the final frenzy of patterns attack these players, and it is still anybody's game. If Idex finds a miss now, if Xavi finds a miss now, there might still be enough time for the United States. But as it stands right now, Delete and Cuckoo versus Xavi and Idex, it's currently moving in favor of the Philippines. But Xavi finds the miss, and so does Yura. Idex Mandrike gonna be the last remaining hope, trying his best to hold back the floodgates, and he needs to hold. Cuckoo, however, finds the miss, and Delete, as hard as he might try, would Idex win? Would Idex lose? Pardon me. Nah, he'd win. The Philippines denied the United States of this Everything Will Freeze point and redeem themselves on the No 5.
Oh my goodness gracious. That was certainly a performance. Delete managing to replicate the FC. but it is the Philippines with the solid recovery, the solid supporting skills all around. Idex, Xavi, Kemo, all hitting that 500k mark, and that is just what gave them wins. Sparkle, Kalanjak are just unable to support their team, to support that FC from Delete as much, and Philippines are back in this. But that was their own pick. That was their own pick. They still
That's
have to
true.
respond to the United States. They're going to be throwing out that DT1 inevitably, and there's still plenty of maps for the United States to abuse, right? They won comfortably, pretty comfortably on the DT3. They still have the DT1. They're still hidden 3. You know, they still have free reign over this map pool.
That's right. They have a lot of outlets of attack going into this Filipino roster, but the No More 5 victory is a start. The Philippines only started doing well when they did something different, and this No More 5 was a pick completely out of left field. They didn't expect you wouldn't expect the Philippines to pick it after the United States had that double FC, but they did it, and goddamn, it paid off. And so, you know, the hope is that the Philippines can slowly but surely claw their way back. For what it's worth, the DT1 is really the only decisive point that the United States have on the board. You know, albeit it's going to be really difficult, but if the Philippines wins, you know, 4 points in a row, wins 4 coin flips in a row, might I add, it might still be doable, but oh boy, it's going to take some form of heroics for that to happen as we go into No More 1, Wings of Threshold, a custom song by Arx, a map, and also mapped by Arx.
This No More 1 pick, honestly, a little bit questionable, honestly, coming out from USA. They only barely won this point last time off the back of a carry FC from Delete and a solid almost FC from Kalanjak, but it was only 60k between these two teams. And with how Philippines is improving their scores into the second match, you know, I would not be surprised if either Idex or Yura or June is able to bump their score up to contest.
That's right, and you know, we might even see a roster swap. You know, we didn't really expect June to be in for this No More 1 last time. Perhaps you see them go out. You know, Yura as well seemed to struggle a bit on that No More 1. The beauty of No More 1 in a lot of pools is that it's very accessible, and a lot of the time when you're trying to fill a roster of 4, you'll have more than enough options. So really, it can just come down to who's more comfortable on the day. This No More 1, I think we mentioned it before, Will. Of course, you know, the main skill set is gonna be the 200 BPM aim, yada yada yada, thrown all across the map. This AR 9.5 as well, relatively standard. So at the end of the day, this is a war of attrition at its finest. But even more so, I think the mental tricks that this map plays on you is something that many people don't talk about. The fact that this map has so many start and stops. I believe there are some points in the map where the map just like decreases in BPM widely. There are some weird 1/3 sections in this map, and the fact that this map throws your momentum, you know, up and down throughout its 3 minutes and 55 second drain time, really is testament to how much mental fortitude, how much tenacity you need during this map.
Absolutely, yeah. This is just an absolute endurance test for not only your aim, but your mind as well. You need to stay composed during this No More 1. We saw the scores being very high across the board. You know, Delete, Kalanjak, Xavi, Juno, all getting above that 500k mark. But it's just about who is able to control themselves on the day as we get into this No More 1, Wings of Threshold.
That's right. Once again, huge shouts to Arx for the custom map and custom song. We love to see it. Arx is a phenomenal artist. Go check him out. Go check out his socials. But let's jump straight back onto the match that we have on hand. These players sort of slowly getting accustomed to the No More 1s right now. Nobody finding an early miss. And Xavi, in fact, as I say that, is going to prove me wrong. But it's still early days. A lot more to be desired. As, you know, we slowly but surely move into our first, you know, section where the momentum takes a ride.
Absolutely, a very uncharacteristic break there from Xavi, but Kuko trades it right back, and it is 3 FCs to 3. But there is still plenty more in this map as we move into the rhythm change section. We'll see if it catches anyone off guard.
That's right. Will anybody be caught off guard by the weird slider takes? Will anybody be caught off guard by the weird BPM changes? It looks like Kemo
Oh.
Smako will be the one to find that miss. That's where Yura missed last time, and Kemo Smako does just that as well. A repeat of history as the United States push ahead with 3 FCs to their name. Idex and Yura really the only ones left on the Filipino roster. Hits the triples, however, and they are going to look to hold back the floodgates, but for how long? I don't know. Creek Crafting, however, finding that miss, and it is going to stop the bleeding. As we move into the next section of the map, the slowdown, Idex Vendrique finds a miss, and now it is do or die for the Philippines.
Philippines were poised to take that right back, but Idex finding the break on that FC is not good, and Urura as well to follow it up. It is just Xavi on that recovery combo to try and contest against Kalanjak and Delete once again. But when you're on the recovery combo, there's only so much you can do. You really have to hope for a break to come out from either of these two as we get into another one of these tricky slowdown intersections.
Yeah, that's right. Kalanjak and Delete are looking extremely comfy. The duo once again, the blazing duet, are racing into the slow section completely unfaltered. They're gonna go into the instrumental interlude with a 900 combo to boot. And meanwhile, Idex is not feeling it. Xavi might have the recovery, but unless you see a miss from these large combos, it's just not gonna happen. Cuckoo as well with that threshold, with that safety net for Kalanjak and Delete. And as we move into the last of the map, the time is running out.
Absolutely, 300k is a lot on a map of this length, and we're really going to need to see a collapse from Kalanjak, Delete, and Cuckoo if Philippines wants to take this back. There just really isn't anything on the side of Philippines. It's just Xavi and Camo on this slight recovery combo, but what can you do against this duo?
That's right, we move into another slowdown section. This is really the last chance for Kalanjak and Delete to miss before we are past the point of no return. Xavi is still waiting. He's waiting and waiting for the opportunity to be given to him, but Xavi falls. And I think that's gonna be match point for the United States as the American duo of Kalanjak and Delete prove why they are inevitable. Throughout every single matchup, they have proven themselves, and they are gonna do it once again here, looking to race towards the last section of the map hand in hand with that 1.4k score lead. The question isn't whether they win this point, it's a question of how far they will take it.
And the Kalanjak and Delete holding the FCs until the very end. There is literally nothing the Philippines can do against a 650k score lead. And now it's just looking so dire for the Philippines right now. United States still have their Protect, their DT1 Protect, which they won so confidently on last time. And it's going to take a miracle for Philippines to be able to get anywhere in this match as we move into the third ban phase.
People doubted the United States this year. And people doubted the United States this year. They are closer than any team has ever been to toppling the Philippines. They went bracket reset, and now they're going 6-2 against the Philippines during this second matchup. I mean, what do you even do against the onslaught, against the momentum train that the United States have full access tickets to? They have a first class seat on this ride to absolute greatness, and you know, with a knife pressed against the Philippines' throat, it's really do or die.
Absolutely. But we're going to be moving into this last ban phase now. United States opting with that DT3 ban, pretty expected given how dominant Philippines was on it last time. 1.1 million score lead, and Philippines going with the free mod 1 ban like they did last time, just not wanting to play into that consistency that the United States just thrive off of. And now it is the Philippines to respond with what might potentially be their last pick in this tournament. What will they go for?
Dude, what's left in the pool? Hidden 3, DT2, no more 2, no more 4. DT1 is just a completely out of the question, and it looks like they're gonna go for the double time too. This is the pick that worked for them last time, and they're trying their best to claw onto any sort of hope. They're trying to claw onto any sort of lifeline at this juncture in the map, and you can tell that they're getting desperate.
Absolutely, yeah. This DT2 gonna be the high BPM speed map of the pool. We saw Xavi and Irex both set incredible scores on this in the previous match. Meanwhile, US just not having anything to really match that at all. But you know, I've been down in the US and I'm sure they can probably perform, right? You have Delete, you have Sparkle, you have Cuckoo. I think all three of these could definitely potentially match the FCs that we're seeing on the side of Philippines, but just have to see who performs on the day.
That's right. And from this point on, the United States has Philippines between a rock and a hard place. They have a knife to their throat. Philippines has no room for error moving into this mid-game. And if I were in the position of the Philippines right now, I can only imagine the amount of nerves that I must be feeling. I can only imagine Hushin having to claw his way back, try to find any sort of way to attack the United States, as the US can choose to toy with their food. They still have their DT1 Doomsday button to press at their disposal. And for that reason, oh man. Tell us a bit about this map, Wilwam.
Absolutely. This DT2, as I've mentioned, the high BPM DT speed of map of this pool. This map throws a lot of these fast 267 BPM bursts at you constantly. And not to mention, the EM element is much more tricky compared to some of the DT2s we have seen in the past. You know, we had Split X all the way back at even a higher BPM, but this map just so draining on your stamina, and really you just need to be so proficient at this BPM to be able to perform.
That's right. It really touches the upper echelon of that BPM bracket. The highest BPM map in the pool, ignoring the hidden 3. 270 BPM bursts are littered throughout this entire map. And, well, I say this once and I say it again. The United States are this close to being the first country in 6WC history to win it twice. And, well, let's see how long it takes for them to do it.
Absolutely, this DT2, all about those 5-note bursts that you're seeing right now. Irex is going to find a very early break, but there's still plenty of stuff in this map for people to break on. There's a particularly tricky pattern in the Kiais, which I think might catch some of these players off guard.
That's right, Irex continuing to find misses, not quite what you wanna see. A 4-way FC in favor of the United States going into the first KI of this map. Only 3 for the Philippines, and now that scoreline is gonna slowly but surely compound in favor of the US as we move into that second quarter of the map. They are just consistently throwing everything they've got.
And the United States still holding that 4-way FC into this first quarter of the map. Meanwhile, Philippines, you know, have those 3 FCs, but the break from Irex, uncharacteristic breaks. Honestly, we saw him like almost FC this map in the previous match, so to see him find breaks on these patterns is just not what you want to see for Philippines. But a break can come out at any moment. We're just waiting to see it happen as we move into the next KI here.
Yeah, that's right. It's really do or die. The United States need to find a miss. You need to pray for the US to go down at this juncture for any hope of a comeback. But it's a 4-way FC with Campbell's Mako finding that miss. It is 4-2. The Philippines has absolutely nothing to throw at the US. They stand atop no other. Sparkle might find a miss, and that is going to stop the bleeding. But it's a 300k score lead and counting in favor of the US as we move into the last third of the map. What can you even do?
Yura finds the break as well, and that is 3 combos to just Xavi once again. How is he meant to contest against this roster? We're going to need to see an absolute collapse from one of these 3 combos as we get into the last section, but it just doesn't look like it's happening, and the score lead is just so massive right now. 400k into this section, and Xavi finds that last break.
A complete meltdown from the Philippines, and we will see the new winners. Let the record show when the lights were brightest, the United States did not bend, they did not break, they did not falter. Where were you when the US first ascended to the throne in 2023? Where were you when they fell from grace in 2024? And where were you when they painted the tapestry of the World Cup blue, red, and white? Watch as the most decorated country in OSU history reclaim their throne of ruin and once again prove that they own the finish line. Let us welcome the champions of old back into the Hall of Greatness as I present to you the first country to ever do it again, the United States of America, your 6-digit World Cup champions.
Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, what did we just witness? What is that score improvement from the United States? Boosting their score by a whole 1.1 million on a map like this, and the Philippines just not having anything at all to contest. And that is just going to be curtains for Philippines. They tried their absolute hardest, but at the end of the day, it was not enough. And United States take this victory so comfortably, 7-2. What a match. What on earth did we just witness?
And you were saying, Willem, and you
Oh
were
my
saying...
god. Oh my goodness gracious.
Oh my goodness. I thought shame on me for thinking that this was gonna be a close match. Shame on me for thinking that we're gonna be seeing a tiebreaker, but the United States are inevitable. We saw this matchup happen, Will, and we saw this matchup in 5WC. We were praying that it wouldn't happen again, but at the end of the day, what can you do against the... Oh my goodness. We were saying that the Philippines were the atomic bombs, but the United States were nothing short of nuclear during this matchup. They had the skill, they had the passion, they had the practice, they had the will to take it all the way. And by God, they didn't take it all the way with a close fought victory. No, they took it away decisively. They took the Philippines to a slaughterhouse and made us watch. And I have nothing to say at the end.
My goodness gracious. I mean, yeah, I was just doubting the United States the entire way. I doubted them at Indonesia. I doubted them in the first match, but they have just proven me wrong once again. And I'm just in awe. They just shock me every single time. They're just so damn good.
All the talk, all the doubts, all the noise. It ends now, Will. The United States will once again be ascending to their God-given throne and will be the first ever country, mind you, I said it before, but I'll say it again, the first ever country to win it once again. They did it once in 2023, and everybody thought that they wouldn't be able to amount to what that 2023 roster had. But they've proven the world wrong. They proved that they are not only capable, they're more than capable of doing what many thought was the unthinkable. And well, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but the Philippines, they tried. They've been battered, they've been bruised, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough.
Oh my god.
Let's take a breather, Willem. Let's take a breather. Let's
Absolutely.
really sort of reel in what we just saw. Oh my goodness. I'm still jittery. I am still so incredibly jittery from what the matchup we just witnessed, and I hope that we'll have a TV show match to come. But I believe Maiji, you in particular really want to do an interview with Callan Jack.
I don't need to do an interview with Callan Jack, but it'd be nice to do an interview with somebody from the USA. Hopefully light. It would be nice to get the lead in here too.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. I think, we have a 6WC sort of after party, a 6WC ending party. So, when that time comes, we can definitely speak to them. But I think for now, we are going to sit back, relax, Willem, as we look at what could have been. I mean, I say what could have been as if it wasn't a 7-2 victory in favor of the US, but you gotta let me relive this moment, You gotta let me live this moment. I believe we will be seeing a tiebreaker show match. Hopefully, we get to see it one last time. And I think being in positions both as admins of this tournament, both being there since the very beginning, I think we stand in a very privileged position to talk about what this World Cup has been. What we thought we were getting ourselves into going into this World Cup, and now that it's all ended, what we have gained from this World Cup. I think, me personally, this is gonna be the last time in a while that I'll be working on such a monumental project And given the amount of, I think, given the amount of passion that the US put, it really reminds me of the passion that we put into this project on our own, right? And you know, I think we should just let the tiebreaker play as we speak. I mean, Willem, go for it, dude.
Absolutely. I mean, I am honestly just lost for words, and I think I'll save some of them for the closer stream. But again, as you mentioned, the United States clearly having a massive upgrade from their finals performance against the Philippines. I thought, given that the Philippines performed so well in that finals pool compared to the United States, it was just all over. But the dedication that the United States players have put in to this grand finals pool is a reminder of how of how much we ourselves put into this tournament.
Yeah, you're watching like the blueprint of me and Willem. You know, days before this matchup, we were preparing. We were talking about like what kinds of narratives can we use, what kind of lines can we throw out, what can we do, and there were so many times. Thank you, Akui, by the way, if you're in chat. We used the 5WC no com streams as practice, and in the lead up towards this matchup, and you know, I can only hope that you guys enjoyed it because holy crap, that was really, really fun. I know a lot of people here are asking for a Callan Jack interview, but could we get one? Could we get one? You know what? Should we just do one? Should we just? I'm gonna ping Callan Jack right now. I'm gonna ask him. I'm just gonna ping Callan Jack.
I can tell you why people want the Callan Jack interview, and it's not for a normal reason. They want it for memes.
Yeah. Go for it, dude. I'm gonna hopefully get Callan Jack in the room. The people the people want him, and the people shall receive.
I'm gonna ask Delete as well because we gotta get Kobe and Shaq in here, bro. There's no reason we can't get both.
Okay, let's just get both. But let's try to limit it down. You know, we will have the entire USA roster to share their thoughts and whatnot in our 6WC award stream, which is where we plan to, you know, formally announce the winners of this year's World Cup. So we'll definitely have a word from Light then. But you know,
Light would like to join now too.
Oh my goodness, all four of them.
We're getting the whole trio, bro.
We're getting the whole gang. Jesus Christ. But yeah, we will be having this interview as, you know, we play Resplendence in the background, our grand finals custom Osu original by Kagetora himself. This is a map collab with an incredibly stacked lineup of mappers. 0PP, Nomi Nomu, Nayami, Kokoyu, and Hamano. I believe the map is getting ranked very soon, so you know, if you wanna play it for yourself, if you wanna, you know, farm on it, wink wink, be my guest. We are gonna see the storyboard on Cuckoo's side. Very, very nice to see. The storyboard itself was made by Rabin and Rex, with the background art being made by Nemo. And overall, huge shoutouts to everybody who was part of the World Cup team. I think, you know, there's gonna be a lot more to say, I think, when we do our closure stream. But that's all I think we have for now. Let's hope that Kyle and Jack... Can I stop stalling? Can I stop waffling? Can we just get this guy in, bro? Can we just get this guy in, dude?
Yo, somebody MP kick Callan Jack so we can get this guy in the VC instead of waiting another 4 minutes just for bro to finish the map.
Oh my god, he's
I mean, honestly,
tiebreaker.
I think let's just save it for the award stream, you know? Let's keep it big. Let's keep it entertaining. And for now, enjoy the tiebreaker.
We're just enjoying the show right now, Heike. Like, I think we will be saving the award stream. We will be saving the interview for the award stream. So, you know, that's another reason to look at it. If you want to vote for Callan Jack as your 6th digit of the year, by all means, the voting is still open. And we will, I guess now we're here, I will be telling you guys what the procedure for nominations will be. Here's how it goes. So, you know, we sent out a form recently talking about a whole list of awards. And how it's gonna work is that we will pick the top 2 awards from each category, and then staff, the jury, will handpick, Project Hexagon will handpick we will handpick one additional member. So it's gonna be the top 2 plus 1. Afterwards, we'll be sending all the new nominees for voting. There will be a different number of nominees depending on the award. I believe like best custom map will be having 5 nominations, I believe, but more details will be given out to you hopefully later on in the week, because holy crap, I need to take a breather after this matchup. But we will be doing a lot of stuff. We will be finally presenting the Apex Theater banners that are long awaited. And of course, if you want to have your Callan Jack interview, that's the place to be. In addition to that, we sincerely appreciate the fact that everybody has been so positive about the award stream. We had a overwhelming amount of responses, and it makes me really, really happy to see it. But Willem, what's Callan Jack doing? Bro,
hold on.
Is he doing it again, chat? Is he,
Let's scope in on this.
No.
Guys. Okay, there's no way he votes during the 0PP section. No, this is Hamano section. There's no way.
Even Zavi missed. Yoruba actually holding through the section, but Callan Jack is the one that have the Ion, the one with the FC. Good accuracy from Zavi, by the way, but same thing as what Zerulia did. The Titans holding that act.
Callan Jack is Callan Jorkin it right now. What the hell? 1.5k combo and count. Wait, pause. Wait, chat. Wait, no.
He's Callan Jacking it.
He doesn't hit the speed up. No, the Nomu speed up is unironically diabolical. There is no way Callan Jack hits this. Here we go.
He's still good.
Oh my goodness, 1.6, 1.7.
Oh my god.
Finally,
bro. Holy crap, tiebreaker final boss Callan Jack. Jesus Christ, what is my man's doing? What is my man's doing?
Last time we seen tiebreaker been played from actual 6 digits was Satori and Golden Ellis, and Callan Jack's 1v2ing them right now.
If you want to check out the 6-digit World Cup tiebreakers being played, check out Minor League. I heard they have a lot of tiebreakers. The tiebreaker, the whole tiebreaker spiel will come in the. Oh, should we run a Q&A? Well, I think we should run a Q&A.
Q&A for what?
For closure.
Sure. I'm totally down.
If you guys have any burning questions to ask the staff unrelated to our feat or and more so related to the actual hosting of the tournament, I do send us a okay, you know what? We'll release a form. Do not DM me. I'm not going to release it.
Please, guys, there's a questions channel. Let's use it.
No. We'll send a form. We will be sending a form.
Guys, we will do it for you. The closure stream will be done by me, Mirage Fire, Philoxen, Willem, Perry Crayola, and Renyo. Yeah, that's right. The main
if we can find Renyo.
If Renyo comes back with the milk. But yeah. This has been a journey and a half, bro. I can tell you that when I was speaking to a bunch of the 5WC hosts, they have a 3-month development cycle. This tournament has had a 9-month long runtime. More than half of my year has been spent on this freaking tournament, and I will say, for all the haters, are you satisfied? Because this is the shit that we are capable of when we really put our mind to it. And as the tiebreaker comes to a close, that will mark the official end of the 6-digit World Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. My name has been Gammy Crayola. His name has been Willem. I don't want to dwell on this too much. Willem, do you have any last words to, give to the stream before we close it off for good?
Not really. I think I'll save them for the closer stream because
okay.
Still, I just need some time to rest, man. I need time to recover from what we just witnessed. But thank you all so much in chat, watching at home. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think Willem and I are gonna look back at the first half of this bracket, the first half of this grand finals being very happy, and the second half absolutely dying of cringe. But that's a story for another time. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my second time I said it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name has been Gabby Crayola. You are once again watching 6-digit World Cup 2025, and we'll catch you in the last few streams of this tournament. It's almost over. Goodbye.
It's almost over. Goodbye.